Hey everyone, welcome back to Your Channel Name. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of psychology with 10 powerful tricks that can help you in various aspects of life, from communication to influencing behavior. Let's get started. Our first psychological trick is a classic, the foot in the door technique. This is about how we get people to agree to bigger things by starting small. Imagine you're trying to get someone to lend you a book. You wouldn't just walk up and ask for the whole thing outright. Instead, you start small. You ask them if they've ever heard of the author or read any reviews of the book. Once they've engaged with you on that smaller level, asking to borrow the book doesn't seem as daunting. By getting someone to agree to a small request, you're creating a sense of obligation, a tiny mental thread connecting them to you and your request. Each subsequent request becomes easier to accept because they've already taken that first step with you. Start small, build trust, and watch as your influence grows. Now, let's flip the script and talk about the door-in-the-face technique. Imagine you're at a marketplace, haggling over the price of an antique telescope. Instead of lowballing, you go in with an even higher offer than they expect. Of course, they're going to laugh. You've just slammed the door in their face, metaphorically speaking, but here's the twist. You immediately follow up with a more reasonable offer, one that's still favorable to you. The initial outrageous request makes the second offer seem like a much better deal in comparison. It also triggers a sense of guilt in the other person, making them more likely to agree to the second. So, the next time you're negotiating, remember the power of the door-in-the-face technique. Start high, adjust your aim, and watch as the stars align in your favor. Let's move on to a more subtle yet equally powerful technique: mirroring. This one's all about building rapport by subtly reflecting the behavior of the person you're interacting with. Think about a time you've had a conversation with someone and felt an instant connection. Chances are you were subconsciously mirroring each other's behavior. It's a natural human tendency, a way of signaling, hey, we're on the same wavelength here. Now, I'm not talking about blatant mimicry. It's about being observant, picking up on subtle cues and subtly adjusting your own behavior to match. If someone is speaking softly and slowly, you might lower your own volume and pace. If they're leaning in while they talk, you might subtly lean in as well. When we see someone mirroring our behavior, it signals that they understand us, that they're paying attention. It creates a sense of trust and comfort, making it more likely that they'll open up to us. So, the next time you want to build rapport with someone, remember the power of mirroring. Chapter 4: The Power of Names. Our next trick is so simple, yet so often overlooked: the power of names. It's about the profound psychological impact that hearing our own name has on us. From the moment we're born, our names become intertwined with our identity. When someone remembers our name, it shows they see us, they acknowledge us as individuals, and that creates a powerful connection. Using someone's name elevates the interaction from generic to personal, from forgettable to memorable. So, the next time you're interacting with someone, make an effort to remember and use their name. It's a small gesture with a big impact. Chapter 5: Priming. This is about how exposure to certain words, images, or even sensations can influence our thoughts and behavior in subtle yet significant ways. Imagine you're walking into a meeting, about to present a bold new idea. Just before you enter the room, you see a picture of a rocket launching into space. That image, even if only glimpsed for a moment, can prime your mind for success, for taking risks, for reaching for the stars. Our brains are constantly making associations, connecting experiences and information. When we're exposed to a particular concept, even subconsciously, it activates related networks in our brain, making those thoughts and behaviors more accessible. So the next time you want to influence someone's behavior, think about the environment you're creating, the words you're using, the images you're presenting. You might be surprised by the subtle yet powerful influence you can have. Chapter 6: The Pygmalion Effect. This effect highlights the incredible power of expectations. Simply put, when we believe in someone's potential, when we communicate those high expectations, they're more likely to rise to the occasion. If a lead scientist fosters an environment of trust, and high expectations, constantly reminding their team of their potential, that's when the magic happens. Individuals surpass their own perceived limitations and achieve extraordinary things. The Pygmalion effect is about adjusting our focus, not just on what we see, but on what we believe is possible. So the next time you're in a position to influence someone, remember the power of the Pygmalion effect. Set high expectations, believe in their potential, and watch as they reach for the stars. Let's talk about a fundamental principle of human interaction, the reciprocity principle. When someone does something nice for us, we feel obligated to return the favor. It's a beautiful cycle of kindness and appreciation. This isn't about keeping score or expecting something in return for every act of kindness. It's about understanding the power of initiating that cycle. When we give freely, without expectation, we create that same gravitational pull in our relationships, drawing people closer and strengthening the bonds between us. So, the next time you want to build stronger connections, remember the power of the reciprocity principle. Be the first to offer a helping hand, a kind word, a genuine gesture of goodwill. Chapter 8: Anchoring. This one's all about how our brains latch onto the first piece of information we receive, using it as a reference point for all subsequent judgments. Imagine you're shopping for a new telescope. You walk into a store, and the first one you see is a top-of-the-line model, boasting a hefty price tag. Now, even if you know you can't afford that particular model, that initial price point becomes your anchor. Suddenly, the other telescopes, even if they're still quite expensive, seem more reasonable in comparison. Our brains are wired to seek out patterns and make quick judgments. So, the next time you're making a decision, be aware of the power of anchoring. Pay attention to the first piece of information you receive, especially if it involves numbers. Chapter 9: Social Proof. This one's all about our innate tendency to look to others for guidance, to follow the crowd, especially when we're unsure of what to do. Think about it. You're walking down the street and you see a crowd gathered around a street performer. Even if you're not sure what the fuss is about, you're more likely to stop and investigate. Social proof is a powerful force, and it's often used in marketing and advertising to influence our purchasing decisions. Think about testimonials, online reviews, and those bestseller lists. They all tap into our desire to follow the crowd, but social proof isn't always about conformity. It can also be a powerful force for good. When we see others engaging in pro-social behavior like donating to charity or volunteering their time, it inspires us to do the same. So, the next time you're faced with a decision, be aware of the power of social proof. Chapter 10: The Zeigarnik Effect. This effect highlights how our brains are wired to remember uncompleted or interrupted tasks more vividly than completed ones. Think about it. You're working on a complex project, fully engrossed in the task at hand. Suddenly you're interrupted by a phone call, a meeting, or some other distraction. Even though you're forced to shift your focus, that unfinished task lingers in the back of your mind, demanding your attention. Our brains love closure. When we start a task, we create a sort of mental tension, a loop that's only closed when the task is completed. Interruptions create a sort of open loop, and our brains hate those open loops. So, how can we use the Zeigarnik effect to our advantage? By strategically breaking down large tasks into smaller, more manageable chunks, and by intentionally leaving some tasks unfinished at the end of the day. This creates those open loops, those mental reminders that will help us stay focused and motivated to complete the task. And there you have it, 10 psychology tricks that can help you in various situations. If you found these tips helpful, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and leave a comment with your favorite psychology trick. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.